Welcome to Tech News Today, the podcast about keeping you informed and empowered by giving you the latest tech stories that impact your daily life. It's Monday, January 14th. I'm Mike James. Coming up in a bit, phishing scams are getting smarter and harder to spot. Plus, you might get charged even if you don't answer the cell phone call on a cruise ship. And Ford is working on sweaty robot butts. That's right. All that and more coming up in Tech News Today. We'll get started in just a moment. First, we'd like to recognize our partners who help make these Tech News Today podcasts possible. And we start with phishing scams, which just won't go away. Another day, another scam, and now they're apparently getting smarter, making them much harder to spot as fakes. We'll discuss a few recent cases like the phishing email that uses a new way to trick you and your two-factor authentication, and then the recent Apple tech support phishing call that looks real, but it's really just another attempt to scam you. Phishing scams that try to get you to give up your personal or financial information over the phone are usually a lot easier to spot, but fake websites are unfortunately starting to look more and more real. Scammers are starting to use URLs that look authentic by using characters from a different language that are hard to distinguish from their English counterparts. Security journalist Brian Krebs noted a case a couple of weeks ago where one phishing site used internationalized domain names as a way to confuse people who received the email. The crooks changed out one letter in the URL, replacing the letter I with a Vietnamese character that looks similar and very difficult to differentiate between the real I. Krebs said Chrome, Safari, and more recent versions of Internet Explorer and Edge are less susceptible to convert the character, but Firefox does convert it. So if you use Firefox, you might consider one of the other alternatives that could keep you safer from phishing attempts like this. Remember years ago when roaming was a thing? It seemed like you couldn't even go 15 minutes from your house without the dreaded roaming icon popping up on your screen. Make or take a long-distance call, and that could be added cost tacked onto your bill. Well, even though it's mostly an afterthought these days, you might take a closer look if you're planning on taking a cruise anytime soon. Most cruise lines offer cell service on passenger ships, because, of course, we can't be without our smartphones. It's a win-win situation since it's also a big financial boost for both the cruise line and the phone carrier. But if you don't take a few precautions before getting on a cruise ship, you could be hit with some big charges, even if you don't talk to anyone. Forbes covered one case where a woman took a cruise across the Atlantic with her T-Mobile iPhone. She kept her phone turned on but disabled data roaming. She received 2 calls during the trip that she let go to voicemail, but on her next bill, she saw that she had been charged $7.50 for each of those ignored calls. That's because networks on those ships are different. So when she didn't answer, the system sent the call back to her voicemail, which is considered a call being made from the ship back to the U.S. And that's one way to make a buck. So before heading out on a cruise, see if your carrier offers a cellular package specifically meant for cruises. Of course, the cheaper route is to just turn your phone off during the trip, or at least put it into airplane mode so you can still use Wi-Fi, but not get calls. Just ahead, another batch of adware apps is being downloaded millions of times, and we'll tell you what to look for on that. Right now, let me tell you about our partners at Capterra. It's been 30 years since the World Wide Web was invented, and I bet some of you are still using old, outdated software. Set yourself up for success with the new software for your business at Capterra.com. As America's digital pro, Kim gets asked about this all the time. What is the best software for someone's business? And she refers people to Capterra.com. Capterra is the leading free online resource to help you find the best software solution possible for your business and discover everything you need to know to make an informed decision. Search more than 700 specific categories categories of software. Everything from project management to email marketing to yoga studio management software. Join the millions of people who use Capterra each month and find the right tools for their business. Visit Capterra.com/Kim today to find the right tools to make 2019 the year for your business. Capterra.com/Kim. That's CAPTERRA.com/Kim. There's a new batch of adware apps showing up in the Google Play Store, and they've been downloaded millions of times. Now, these apps won't work as described and are designed only to show ads on your phone or tablet. ESET security researcher Lucas Stefanko found 9 new apps, all disguised as remote control apps, and combined they've been downloaded 8 million times. So look out for any apps by developers Tools for TV. That's tools followed by the number 4, not spelled out. The most popular is called Universal TV Remote, which has been installed more than 5 million times since last June. Others include Remote Control for TV and Home Electronics, one called TV Remote Controller, another Remote for TV Remote Control, and then there's Air Conditioner Remote Control, and then one more, Remote for Air Conditioner and Remote Control for the car. Stefanko reported the apps to Google, and it looks like they've all been pulled from the store. If you have one of those apps by Tools for TV, you can delete them from your Android device just by going to Settings and then the Apps menu. Speaking of Google, just like Amazon, Alexa Google Assistant is starting to turn up just about everywhere you look. The digital voice assistant is, of course, on Google Home, smart speakers, your smartphone and tablet, your TV, your watch, the car, and maybe even on some of your appliances. Well, that's just not enough. AndroidPolice.com reports now that you can open Google Assistant directly from Google's mobile website, at least on some devices. So if you go to Google's site from your phone or tablet, check out the top right side and see if it shows up with the other icons. The Google Assistant icon looks like a group of 4 small circles in blue, red, yellow, and green. Now, if you don't see it there, then that's the indication it hasn't been rolled out to your device yet, but it probably will be soon. Well, it's good news for SpaceX as they continue to work on 2 major projects, but it's not so good for a lot of their employees who found out last week that they're being laid off. Last Friday, Elon Musk told employees that although finances are good, quote, SpaceX must become a leaner company, end quote. So that means that 10% of the company's 6,000 personnel workforce is being let go. This comes as SpaceX is working on 2 really big projects, including spending between $2 and $10 billion developing a spaceship and rocket system to bring tourism to outer space, and another project costing up to $10 billion involving satellites that could soon beam high-speed internet down to Earth. They're also still in the business of resupplying the International Space Station. Thanks to their deal with NASA, those trips mean tens of millions of dollars per launch for SpaceX. At some point later this year, they're even supposed to start flying astronauts to the ISS. Coming up next, you know Ford makes cars, trucks, and SUVs. Well, now add robotic buttocks to the mix. That's next. Right now, a thank you to our friends who help make this podcast possible. Well, as you know from listening to Tech News This Week, there's all kinds of things that can be faked on the internet these days, and now you can add food to the list. A team of Israeli researchers developed an artificial intelligence that can actually read a recipe with any list of ingredients and instructions and produce an image of what it would look like. One of the researchers told the Next Web that it started when his grandmother could no longer remember the exact recipe for her famous fish. So he tried to build a system that could decipher a recipe based on a provided image. But it turned out to be too daunting. I mean, how could you determine if salt had been added, for instance? So he decided to try the opposite. AI that creates images from recipes. So it's not perfect yet, but they're working out some of the kinks. The team hopes to continue working on the project, even expanding what it can do beyond food. Is nothing on the internet sacred anymore? The team hopes to continue working on the project, even expanding what it can do beyond food. Hopefully they'll be working on the project using Grandma's recipe for whatever it was. And as we all know, Ford is pretty famous for their cars, their trucks, SUVs, but now they're also making sweaty robot butts. Automakers are constantly working to improve your comfort as a way to sell more cars, and that often involves enhancements to the seats. So, yes, it's all starting to make sense. You've already got seats you can adjust to just about any angle, and of course there's memory settings. Heat also is fairly standard these days on cars for the seats. Even cooled seats are showing up more and more, but people also sweat during their commute, so Ford's decided to work on that too. Ford Europe posted a video showing a robotic buttocks that is supposed to replicate the movements of a human driver. But they didn't stop there. It also sweats. Ford calls it the Robutt, and they put it to the test over 3 days, seeing just how much your sweat can mess with their seats. They already tried it on the Ford Fiesta, and it worked well, so now they're giving the sweaty butt treatment to all the other Ford vehicles in Europe. Enough said. By the way, once you're done listening to our podcast, do us a favor and give us a good rating on wherever you listen to us, too. It helps more people find us, and we thank you for that. Finally, for today's Commando Kicker, while Pluto will forever be the planet that could have been, there's a possible actual ninth planet in our galaxy. Scientists have discovered a very distant celestial object in our solar system, which is a pink dwarf planet called Far Out. It's 100 times farther from the Sun than the Earth, and while it will take a few years to determine its orbital path, similar objects around it may suggest that there is a distant massive planet nearby. While they still can't determine the exact location of the planet, they think that it likely takes more than 1,000 years to take one trip around the Sun. Remember when Pluto was a planet? Yeah, good times. For more fun and interesting facts, go to Commando.com and search for the Commando Kicker. And that's your tech news for today. If you want to win great prizes like the Commando 2-in-1 tablet and laptop, or even a Commando Bluetooth speaker, simply become a Commando ambassador. If you love getting the Commando free email newsletters, you can share it with your friends and family who will benefit from valuable tech and the digital life hacks. Invite them to get the free email alerts. And more people you invite, the more they sign up and the more prizes you win. Just go to Commando.com/ambassador to learn more.